Hey everybody, Seth here with Living Large in Tiny Living. Today we're going to discuss weight and height and width and length dimensions for tiny houses and what the maximum is before you have to get a permit to travel with your tiny house. So here's the deal. I don't know of laws outside of the United States and how all of those work. So I'm going to just talk about the United States laws. If you're outside of the United States, you'll have to figure it out. But I imagine some of these will apply, at least generally, to the discussion outside of the United States, just for the fact that a road is a road, no matter where the road is. But so here's the deal. For the United States, pretty much should travel anywhere in the United States. It's going to be 13'6" limit on the height. On the width, it's 8.5 feet. On the length, it's 40 foot for the trailer and 65 foot for the trailer and the truck combined length. And so when you're looking at a tiny house, you're probably not going to have to worry about the 40 foot and 65 foot length, as far as most people don't actually get a tiny house that long. Most people are looking at a much shorter house. But what you do have to worry about for most people is the height and the width. So you have to look at each individual state that you're going to travel in. For instance, Texas has a 14-foot limit. So instead of 13.5 foot, you can go up to 14 foot without a permit. And if I was to just stay in Texas, I could go up to 14 foot and get an extra 6 inches. But if I want to travel outside of Texas, I will likely have to get a permit. So you have to just consider how much traveling you're going to have to be doing. If you're going to be staying in a single state, you can just look at that one state's laws. And the same goes for the width. 8'6" is pretty much the maximum width anywhere. But there may be some distinctions in between states. I'm not 100% certain on that part of how much the distinction does vary. But you just need to look at your own state's laws and the states that you'll be traveling in, and then you'll be good. Another thing that you will have to look into is the weight of your tiny house, because although there's not a specific limit on the weight, you do have to look at it because in states they have some set maximum for weight, that beyond that you have to get a CDL, which is a commercial driver's license. So in the several states that I looked at, Texas included, there's a 26,000 pound combined gross vehicle weight rating, which means that if your truck has a gross vehicle weight rating of 11,000, your trailer can be 15,000 or less as far as the gross vehicle weight rating goes. And then if you had a 10,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating on your truck, you could have a 16,000 gross vehicle weight rating on your trailer or less. So you have to look at exactly what your state says, or the states that you'll be traveling in say. But you do have to consider that, because if you're getting close to that limit, you may end up having to get a CDL, and there's a cost to that, and there's a time commitment for that. So you're not going to be able to just pull it with your standard driver's license. Another thing that you do have to consider when it comes to the weight of tiny houses is, and it doesn't apply to very many people, but there are some streets and roads that do have a set weight limit specific to that road. These are typically, they look kind of like residential roads. They are typically city owned, and they're usually, from what I've seen around my area, are asphalt roads that are kind of narrow. But there are some roads that do have a specific weight limit, and so if you plan to travel that road often with your tiny house, you might have to stay under that weight limit or figure out another route around that road. So if you are next to one of those roads, you just have to consider that when you're building and get underneath that weight limit. But again, around my area, they are usually about 10,000 to 20,000 pounds or 10 tons. So you're not probably going to go over that weight limit unless you have a very large tiny house. So with all that said, I hope that gave you some clarity on exactly what the laws are in the United States and got you thinking. And I hope you have a great week. I'll catch you on the next video.